Riders, ridettes, and pillions, welcome to my first ride review of the 2021 Triumph Street Triple R here on the Van Blam YouTube channel. I've rented this Street Triple R through a service called Riders Share, which is a peer-to-peer rental service, kind of like Turo or Airbnb. The selection and prices are way better than any of the traditional rental shops, at least in my area. And if you'd like to try it out, use my sign-up link in the description below. You'll get $50 off your first rental, and I will get a $50 credit as well. That means more bikes for me to rent and make videos about for you guys. Alright, riding the 2021 Triumph Street Triple R. My goodness, that's a fast motorcycle. Wow. So what is the Triumph Street Triple? Well, to put it in the simplest terms, it's a middleweight naked sport bike. But that answer doesn't tell the whole story. See, when people hear middleweight naked sport bike, they think SV650, they think MT-07. Hell, they think of Triumph's own Trident 660, which sits just below this bike in their lineup. But I don't think those are really accurate or fair comparisons. No, this bike sits like a half a class above those in terms of displacement and performance. What we've got in here is a 765cc triple cylinder motor that makes about 115 horsepower and revs to a towering 12,800, much higher than anything else in that so-called middleweight naked sport bike class. Nor would I compare it to that 900 to 1,000 cc class of sport bikes. You know, your BMW F900R or your Kawasaki Z900, stuff like that. Those all tend to make either more top-end power, more low-end torque, or both. And they tend to weigh a lot more than this. It's definitely closer to those 900s in its performance figures than it is to the 650s, but still, the Street Triple 765 kinda sits in its own class. My God. I didn't see what speed I got up to there, and I don't think I want to. You may have just noticed that this motorcycle has a quick shifter, and it actually comes standard with one from the factory. Triumph call it their TSA, Triumph Shift Assist. And unlike the other TSA, it actually does its job pretty well. It seems to function best under heavier acceleration, you know, when you're really on the throttle. So I find that when I'm at really low speeds or just kind of cruising along with the throttle barely cracked open, I'll still pull the clutch and shift the old-fashioned way. But when you really want to get on it, that is very, very satisfying. The other cool thing about the quick shifter is that it works both ways. So we get on the brakes, and it automatically rev matches as you downshift. I'm finding that the power really kicks in around that 7,000 mark or so. Being a triple, it kinda splits the characteristics between a torquey twin cylinder and a high revving powerful four cylinder. Taking off from a stop is effortless, and even picking up speed when you're not quite in the power band isn't the end of the world. So we just picked up from about 4,000 RPM, and it didn't really complain about that. But the real power band definitely begins starting around the 6,000 to 7,000 mark. And you know what? We've been in rain mode this whole time. As soon as we get some open road to play with, I'll switch it into sport mode. But until then, let's talk a little bit about the equipment on this motorcycle. So this is, of course, the Street Triple R. There are two street triples currently offered, the R and the RS. Well, there's also a low seat height version of the R, but we're on the regular one. There used to be a Street Triple S with some really base level suspension and braking components, but Triumph has removed that from their lineup, which I think they did in preparation for the addition of the Trident to their lineup. I mention the departed Street Triple S because I don't want anyone to think that by opting for the R, you're getting inferior components. This is actually not a far cry from the Street Triple RS. Yes, the Street Triple RS has Brembo M50s on the front, but the Street Triple R also has Brembo brakes that happen to be a radially mounted monoblock. I'm actually not even sure how much difference there is between this unit and an M50. The discs are even the same size. The RS has fully adjustable Showa big piston forks, but this has adjustable Showa big piston forks as well. They just happen to be separate function, which helps keep the cost down a little bit. This Street Triple R that we're on also comes with an adjustable Showa monoshock in the rear. It comes with Pirelli Diablo Rosso 3 tires, which I think is the perfect choice for this motorcycle. It's even got all the electronics you would expect from a modern sport bike. It's got rider modes, rain, road, sport, and user, which is customizable. It's got anti-lock brakes, it's got traction control, and of course, that quick shifter. Let's go down here, see what's going on. One thing I should say, because I know some of you are gonna ask, no, this motorcycle does not have cruise control, and I actually don't know off the top of my head if the RS gets it. I'll put that on the screen. I also gotta say, I really love this dash. Yeah, it's low tech, but I love the analog tachometer, the LCD display. You know, they managed to cram basically all the info you need onto it. And yeah, some people are gonna say it looks dated, but I really appreciate the simplicity. All right, let's see what happens in sport mode. Oh man, already much more sensitive in the throttle. You saw that I barely even got into the power band. Honestly, this is not the road for sport mode on a street triple. It's certainly not the time of day. I could have a deer jump out at any second. We'll revisit sport mode when we get out on the highway, but first, let's find a place to pull over and do a little walk around of this bike. I'm probably going to shoot that segment tomorrow, so take it away, future me. Hey, thanks, past me. So let's take a little walk around and talk about the looks of the 2021 Street Triple R. Now, if you're new to my channel, this is actually the first truly modern, purpose-built sport bike I have featured here. It just looks so compact and athletic. It looks as light as it feels. I think the black with the red accents looks awesome here. I love that the red paint on the rear subframe is like a matte finish. It's not, you know, glossy or anything. I like the little flying buttresses we get here next to the pillion seat. I love the arc shape to the swing arm there. I love the little tucked away exhaust, and they even managed to sneak a Triumph logo onto it. And like I said earlier, I really like this dash. I don't care how dated it is, I just love having an analog tachometer. And of course, there is the front end, the headlights. And this is where some of you are going to disagree with me. The Street Triple, and by extension Speed Triple, headlights have been controversial ever since the two models were introduced. Some people just cannot stand the split front headlights, the sort of bug eye look. I think that the front end is very good looking. And while that is a matter of opinion, if you think that the Street Triple's headlights are ugly, what other motorcycles in this style, in this modern naked sport bike style, do you think have a better front end? Are you trying to tell me that this looks better than a Street Triple? Or this? Or this? Are you trying to tell me this looks better than a Street Triple? Okay, well, I need to calm down. But anyways, very, very, very good looking bike overall. And that's coming from someone who does not typically love modern naked sport bikes from a design standpoint. The owner of this motorcycle hasn't changed much. He's put on some sticky tank pads and some engine guards, which is very smart for someone who's planning to rent out their motorcycle. I also want to talk about ergonomics here. The seat height is actually a little bit high. I think it's 32.5 inches I am 5'8" with a 30-inch inseam, and I am completely comfortable and confident sitting on this bike. My heels don't quite get all the way down, but I still feel like I'm in complete control, even at low speeds. The riding position is fairly sporty, but it is still a naked bike, so I think it's all day comfortable. You might just get a little bit cramped in the knees if you're really tall. Definitely none of that pressure on my wrists that you get with a Super Sport. Well, anyways, time to get this show back on the road, but before we do, let's do a little sound check. I do love the sound of a triple. Alright, I gave myself as much room as I can. Hopefully I can do this safely, getting on 495. Grief, that's fast. And that was hardly 10,000 RPM. The shift lights were only just starting to come on. This is not something that I can fully explore in rush hour traffic in DC. I'm gonna have to cut to a future video where we really do an acceleration test on this bike. All right, it's nighttime. The roads have finally cleared out a little bit. Let's see what this thing can do. Now that I've been riding it for a bit and gotten used to it a little more, I can say that the power, it does make you work for it a bit. Like, it has ample pickup lower in the rev range, but that real extreme rush of acceleration, you do need that needle to be pretty high before it kicks in. Ooh. This is a very bumpy bridge. All right, I am gonna go back down into road mode. You can change modes on the fly, like you can with most Triumphs. You just have to pull in the clutch and close the throttle before it actually switches over. Oh, those are some bumps. Oh, yeah. The GW Parkway is a great test of suspension comfort for any motorcycle. And the Street Triple R is definitely more on the sporty side. Here, let me aim for these bumps. Yeah, I mean, it's a little rough if you know, hit all the bumps on purpose. But if you do your part, you can have a pretty comfortable ride on here. This is, of course, a fully adjustable suspension, so I'm sure that if I dialed it in for my weight and my riding style and my roads, it could be a lot more comfortable. I've definitely experienced worse ride comfort in less sporty motorcycles, I'll say that much. Where that taut, sporty suspension proves its worth, however, is in the curves. The Street Triple is known around the world as a supremely sharp handling machine, not just for its class, but among motorcycles as a whole. I can tell you something right now. I could not own one of these bikes. Oh my God. I've taken a number of motorcycles through that corner, and none of them have felt nearly as composed as this Street Triple does. And it's just so nimble, so light. I'm sure Triumph have done everything they can to keep the weight down. I want to say the dry weight is 370 pounds. They don't list the wet weight, but that means it's probably something like 410, 415. It's definitely light and it feels it. And I think that's a big contributing factor to the excellent handling of this motorcycle. I'm gonna drive really slow, try and give myself some room in the upcoming corners. Again, these are the wrong circumstances to be really testing the performance of this motorcycle. I'm still having fun though. This is a fun little bike to ride. Even cruising around like this, you know, it doesn't feel like you're asking it to do something it wasn't meant for. again, I didn't even get above 6,000, and that was still fun. One of my favorite traits that a motorcycle can have is to be fun to ride at any speed. And this street triple, even though it's a really focused sport bike, it achieves that. It's got some real personality and flexibility, as triples often do. All right, give me just one more little... God, you could get into some serious trouble really fast on this bike. I'm not sure if I would trust myself with one of these in my garage. Maybe just as a track bike or as something to enjoy once in a while. But if it were my only motorcycle, if I were riding it around all over the place, I would be accumulating tickets at a rapid pace. So I'm about to reach my destination for the evening. Once I'm on my way back home, I'll wrap this video up. God, the way this thing picks up is unbelievable. As soon as you get those revs up, it just explodes down the road. I know some of you guys watching this are probably used to riding, you know, leader bikes or Super Dukes or whatever. You know, you're probably thinking 115 horsepower, that's not such a big deal. What are you freaking out about? Well, I am not a dedicated sport bike rider. I've dabbled a little bit in a lot of different categories of riding, but it's been a long time since I've been on a proper sport bike, even longer since I've been to a track day. But I really think that this is a bike that... Oh man, yeah, there's plenty of faster stuff out there. Hell, there's the Speed Triple, a 1200cc alternative to this bike, but that is not going to handle nearly this well. Yeah, it may only be 115 horsepower, but it might be the best 115 horsepower you will ever connect to the road. So this concludes my first ride review of the 2021 Street Triple R. This is an outstanding performance-focused machine, but on top of that, it's also very versatile. It's a motorcycle that excels in a lot of different riding conditions. Way more than I could hope to explore in just these first few hours of riding. But fortunately, I have this bike all weekend, and I'll be putting as many miles on it as I can and answering as many of my own questions about it as possible. So make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to see that content as it rolls out. In the meantime, if you have any thoughts or questions about the Street Triple R, leave them in the comments below. Lastly, if you're interested in trying out Riders Share, whether it's to check out a cool bike in your area or to make some extra money renting out your bike, use my sign-up link in the description below. We'll both get a $50 credit. Until next time, you all ride safe, and I'll see you back here for the next video. Thanks for watching.
What is wrong with you people? Afraid to look ugliness in the face? Well, here! Look at it! It's ugly, isn't it? Look at it! Look at it! Look at it! Look at it!